Scott here. This is not a lesson for Stray Cat Strut, but I want to talk about keeping your guitar in tune, which is a problem for all of us. It's not a big deal if you're just playing at home because you can stop the song and tune and carry on, but in the middle of a gig it's quite annoying to be in the middle of a song and all of a sudden you realize one of your strings is out of tune, and it's awfully hard to tune while you're playing chords, and especially if you're the only guitarist in the band, which I am. So for years, I used D'Addario XL9s, and 9 refers to the high E string, and then they go up from there. So these are fairly super light strings, and for playing at home, they're just fine. But I found that for a gig, they tend to go out of tune quite a bit, especially since guitars are made out of wood. Depending on where you're playing at, the humidity, the temperature, all those things affect your guitar, and you can have a perfectly tuned guitar when you leave the house, it's fine, and then as soon as you're at a gig, everything's out of whack. So I was looking for solutions, and I really didn't find a whole lot online as far as answers about how to keep your guitar in tune. So I've arrived at these conclusions myself, and I'm sharing them with you right now. So first and foremost, start with the guitar. Most guitars do not come with locking tuners, but this is probably the best thing you can put on a guitar. And I can tell you that I'm not a guitar tech, but this last week I put these, I don't know if they're Grovers or Godos, but anyways, I put these on the Charvel, these locking tuners, and it took me about 20 minutes. So that was a great first step. And what that does is, one, it makes it easier to string the guitar, but more importantly, there's not a lot of slippage. Actually, there's no slippage up here at the tuning peg, and that helps it stay in tune. The other thing I discovered is going to heavier strings makes quite a difference, but you can only take that so far because at a certain point, the strings are so heavy they become uncomfortable. So what I've put on this guitar, which is probably the heaviest strings I can tolerate, are these Ernie Ball Cobalts, and the high E is at 11. So it goes 11, 14, 18, 28, 36, 46, I think. My vision's really bad. So compared to these, I would say they're like 2 steps up. So you go from a 9 to a 10 to an 11. So every string is progressively heavier as you go through the set. I found that these strings are still quite bendable. And they don't hurt my fingers, which is kind of important. So I have these on here, and for whatever reason, these Ernie Ball Cobalts, I guess they're a new technology, but they do tend to stay in tune really well. The price difference, I used to buy these for like $4 a set, especially when you buy a 3-pack. These are basically $10 a set at Guitar Center, Musician's Friend, wherever you want to go. And they're worth every penny, I can tell you that. I will keep using these from now on, especially for guitars that I gig with. So thinking that was a good thing, the heavier string, I decided to take a step further, and I went up to Ernie Ball Cobalt's 12s. And with these, you have a 12, a 16, and a 24. The 24, which is your G string, is still unwound, so you would think it's not super heavy. And then 32, 44, 56. So I put those strings on this guitar here. And this is a Charvel Strat I've had forever. This is the one I put the locking tuners on. But when you go to bend these strings, or even make a chord for that matter, it really hurts your fingers like hell. I mean, it's like playing a bad acoustic guitar. These strings are just so thick, you can't even imagine until you put them on a guitar. So, even though I spent 10 bucks on these strings, I'm probably going to take them off later today and go back to a new set of 11s. So those are my tips for keeping your guitar in tune. Always keep a tuner nearby. Even though your ear may be good, the tuner is always far more accurate. Keep these near your amp. For those of you that care, my amp is a EVH 5150, the 50-watt version. I have a 212 cab, which one has a Celestion Sidewinder I pulled out of an 80s Marshall. The other has like a 90s Fender stock speaker I pulled out of some Fender. So that's kind of a custom cab. This is a Fender Highway 1 Stratocaster. I think it's an anniversary edition, so it's probably like 1996, I think. It's a 60th anniversary, or maybe 2006, not sure. I have a Dirty Fingers Gibson humbucker in the bridge, a Seymour Duncan Hot Rails humbucker in the middle, and then the stock neck pickup in the neck position. So that's it for today.